So it looks like we're getting a new DC Multiverse collective build wave based on the Titans soulmates, but are any of these action figures any good, and are they worth your money? Be sure you stick around until the end, guys, because we're going to talk about what Titans characters we would love to see next. Well, the first character we're going to look at from this wave, guys, is Nightwing, and Nightwing is perhaps my least favorite release in this entire wave. Much to my disappointment, because I've been kind of waiting for a good Nightwing for a while, and this really isn't it. We've gotten several Nightwings in the past, including a collective build, the Batmobile one, and another one that was Joker-fied, and then there was another one that was based on the Gotham Knights version. And this one was a little bit more like it, but honestly, the way his body looks just doesn't work for me, because his legs look all weird. They look like they're bow-legged, and also, he doesn't look like he's really accurate to how he appears in the material that they're pulling these action figures from, which is Titans, the Rebirth versions. Unfortunately, Nightwing doesn't look so great because he's borrowing parts from the Jon Kent Superman action figure, which is a strange choice indeed, considering that every other action figure in this line is so good and unique, but Nightwing has been completely phoned in, perhaps the most popular and famous character in this entire wave of action figures. What's even worse about Nightwing is that he doesn't come with his batons, his escrima sticks, which he's very well known for because he's just got a pair of closed fists where his hands are, and it's too bad. It's really too bad. This is a character that I really wanted to get hyped for, and I kinda like his head sculpt. The head sculpt doesn't look too bad to me, but looking at the rest of him, yeah, I really have to think about this one. At the very least, I think I'm gonna wait till he's on sale if I want to complete this wave. This is one of those rare DC Multiverse action figures where I look at it and I'm really having a hard time seeing any redeeming qualities about it. It's really that bad. The next action figure we're gonna look at in this wave, guys, is Arsenal, and this one is pretty nice, I think. A much better action figure than Nightwing is. When I first saw this one, I thought that maybe he was borrowing parts from the Injustice release of Green Arrow, but that did not turn out to be the case because it looks like each of these accessories is unique to him. The bow and the quiver and the arrows all look like they're unique. I think the only way that this could get any better is if maybe they had an arrow that he could put on his bow, just to make it look like he's firing something, but otherwise I think this is pretty cool. A lot of people don't like the way Arsenal looks here, but we have to keep in mind that Arsenal's costume on this action figure is based on his DC Rebirth design, as is almost always the case with McFarlane Toys' DC Multiverse, because all their action figures for the most part are based on New 52 and DC Rebirth designs. I honestly don't know why people complain about it, because if you come to this line looking for classic looks, you're really just setting yourself up for disappointment. A lot of nice textures appear all over this action figure. They're very diverse looking and it makes it look very interesting. And he's got some tattoos on his arms too. He's even got the trucker hat look, and people might have mixed feelings about that, but hey, like I say, it's accurate. This is a really cool action figure, guys, and I think this is definitely one of the ones to absolutely get from this wave. The third action figure we're going to look at from this wave, Soulmates, is Raven, and this is one that I kind of have mixed feelings about because I kind of want to get her because she's a character we really haven't seen in the line yet. But on the other hand, she's supposed to be based on her Rebirth appearance, and it looks like they've taken a few liberties with the design that doesn't make her look as good. On Raven's Rebirth design, she has these thigh-high boots that break up the design of the costume and make it look more dynamic, but on the action figure, she doesn't really have that, so it's kind of just a straight shot from her legs all the way up to the design on her torso, which also has been changed, and it vaguely looks like her Rebirth design, but it doesn't really evoke it that much either. To be honest, there's just a few too many differences to really list them all here, and the resemblance of the two designs is superficial at best. Even more curious is that they have her classic design on the trading card as opposed to her Rebirth design, which evidently this action figure is supposed to be based on. I think my favorite thing about this one is probably her head sculpt, which I think is pretty decent, and also the power effects that she has included are pretty neat too. This is still one of my least favorite action figures in the wave, and I think she's marginally better than Nightwing, but not really by a whole lot, I don't think. If you're enjoying the video so far, Soulmates, please consider giving this one a like, because it takes a lot of work to put these together, and I really appreciate it, guys. Before we get back to the rest of the DC Multiverse Titans wave, guys, if you enjoy what I do, please consider subscribing so you don't miss a single video of mine when it comes out. The fourth action figure that we're going to look at from this wave, guys, is Donna Troy. And this is one of my favorites along with Arsenal. I think that this is really a cool action figure and a very good likeness of the character, and also the weapon that they've included with her is also very sweet and accurate to what we see in the comics. Now, one thing I wish they would have done for this one is that they would have included a shield with her, because not only does she have that sword most of the time, she also has that shield, and it would have been nice to see it, definitely. But otherwise, this is a great release, and I love what they've done with this one, and very obviously to me, she is one of the ones to get from this wave, definitely. Curiously, the same color pattern that we see on her body has different textures, and what I mean by that is her upper body on the gray part has a mesh texture, whereas down on her lower body, that same gray part doesn't have a mesh texture, it's smooth. So that seems a little strange to me. It seems like they would have wanted to keep it consistent, but regardless, I still think that this action figure is pretty okay, and well, the sculpt definitely is original. Besides all that, I love the head sculpt on her. She's very obviously battle ready, and I just can't help but be a little bit amused that we're getting a Rebirth Donna Troy before we're getting a Rebirth Wonder Woman. The last action figure we're going to look at from this wave, guys, is of course Beast Boy, and this is based on his appearance from Titans number 34, and it looks pretty sweet, I'm not gonna lie. It looks like Beast Boy if he were like the Hulk, and I love what they've done with this one. The textures on the costume look fabulous. Those mesh textures work really well for him, along with the fur textures that come together to form a very interesting visual and tactile package. Love that. Love the head sculpt too. It looks very fearsome. And the hands look very interesting too. He only comes with single jointed elbows though, much to my surprise. This is really an interesting build-a-figure. A lot of people are wondering where this version of the character comes from. Again, Todd McFarlane and McFarlane Toys do mostly DC Rebirth based designs, so that's where this is coming from. Definitely not a classic Beast Boy, and if you were expecting one, again, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment on that one. Of course, if you do appreciate the Rebirth designs, this one is an obvious slam dunk, and I do appreciate the Rebirth designs, so I think that this is a fabulous build-a-figure. Totally worth assembling, I think, but some of the action figures from this wave I don't think I would like to pick up at full price, because they're not as good as they could be. I would love to have Beast Boy, and getting Donna Troy and Arsenal seem like an obvious choice to me, but Raven and Nightwing I would like to wait for, because I just don't like them all that well. Well, Soulmates, now that we've seen these Titans action figures, what Titans characters would we like to see next? Personally, I would love to have Starfire here, because she's a really obvious character to include with the group, and a really cool one at that, and a necessary one. But if we go with a villain character instead, then Brother Blood I think would be pretty cool to have. Well, Soulmates, what do you think of this Titans wave? Is this one that you have to have for your collection? Are you enthusiastic about a few of these, but you don't really like others? Or are none of these really doing it for you for whatever reason? I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think of these down in the comments, and be sure you let me know what Titans character you would love to see next. If you'd like to learn more about the new Dark Knight Trilogy wave, you can watch that video here, Soulmates.